Good morning, friends. Welcome to Lesson 3 on our I Love America unit. And today we're going to talk about one of the great men who helped our country become a country. So do you remember we read this book about what is called now the Revolutionary War? And it was for our independence. And it's the war we won, even though we didn't think we were going to. And at the very end, I forgot to show you this page, but it shows all the people standing on the dock. This is what the artist, Stephen Kellogg, thought it might look like. And they're watching the King's ship leave. So all the soldiers were taken out of America. And then there's this man right here on his horse, and his name is George Washington. So this is when our country was first created. And the 13 colonies had banded together to become states. Now, in the process of this war, they had to try to figure out what kind of government they were going to have. And the government means the people who make the laws and who enforce the laws and who decide how the country's going to be run. And they knew, so they went to all that work to kick the king's men out. They knew they didn't want a king. So they came up with a system of government where they would have a president that the people would vote for. And he could only be a president for 4 years before they would vote for him again. And we still do that today. So they looked around and they tried to find a man that they thought would be a good first president and would help guide their country during those first years of their country. And the man they found was General Washington. So his name is George Washington, but he was also, all the colonies had decided together that he should be the man to lead the armies against the king. So he is the one who was in charge of all of the American armies during the war. And then after the war, they had the first election and they elected him as the president of the United States. So he was the first president. Now here is another picture that shows him. And this is also during the Revolutionary War. Now there were no cameras back then. And so it was 1776. That sounds like a long time away, doesn't it? And so all we have are paintings that people painted of him and what he looked like. So let's look at what he looks like. Now he is also on our money. So if you look at a dollar bill, I think, and some of our coins, then he is on there also. And I will get those and show them to you later today. So he was the very first president of our country, and that's why we honor George Washington. And his birthday's in February, and every February we have a holiday called President's Day, where we honor George Washington and also Abraham Lincoln, who was another great president that helped keep our country together the way it is today. And so we honor those two men by having a holiday in February. They were both born in February. Pretty awesome, huh? So that's all that I wanted you to understand today, that there was, after the United States of America won the war against Great Britain, then they had to decide who was going to lead them. Who was going to be the leader, and they chose the general who had won the war, and that was George Washington. He was our first president.